Today, I bring you the most sacred love story ever told, a love older than time itself, the love of Radha and Krishna. This is not a story of two people, it is the story of the soul and the supreme, of a love so pure that sages meditate on it, temples sing it every night, and poets have wept trying to describe it. Over the next 15 minutes, journey with us from the groves of Vrindavan to the verses of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda and receive at the end the blessing this hearing bestows. Sit comfortably, breathe gently, and open your heart. Radhe Radhe. The name Vyasa would not write. Radhe Radhe. Some names are spoken everywhere in Bharat, and yet one name was so precious that the sage Vyasa himself would not write it. The Srimad Bhagavata, the crown jewel of all Puranas, describes a moonlit night when Krishna vanished from the great Ras dance with a single gopi, one soul dearer to him than all creation. The verse whispers only one phrase, Anaya Radhita. By her, he was perfectly worshipped. The full line sings, Anaya Radhito Nunam, Bhagavan Harir Ishvara. By her alone, truly, the Lord Hari has been perfectly worshipped. Hidden inside that word, our acharyas reveal, is her name, Radha, she who worships, she who loves without asking anything in return. This narration is her story and his. The eternal love of Radha and Krishna, told through the Puranas and through the honeyed verses of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda. Listen with a quiet heart, for this is not romance as the world knows it. This is Bhakti, wearing the garments of love. Vraja, where God chose to love. To understand this love, come first to the land where it blossomed, Vraja Bhumi. Here the Yamuna curls like a dark silk ribbon through groves of Kadamba and Tamala. Here peacocks answer the thunder, and the very dust is worshipped by saints. In Nandagaon, the cowherd chieftain Nanda and mother Yashoda raised a dark hued child whose flute would one day steal every heart, Krishna, the Supreme, playing as a village boy. And upon the hill of Barsana lived the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and Queen Kirti, a girl of golden radiance, whom the Padma and Brahma Vaivarta Puranas hail as the eternal goddess descended, Radha. Two villages, a few miles of flowering earth between them, and upon that earth the divine chose to enact the most sacred love story ever told. The meeting at Bhandiravana. How did they first meet? The Brahma Vaivarta Purana preserves the most tender account. One day Nanda carried the infant Krishna toward the great banyan forest of Bhandiravana, when the sky suddenly darkened with storm. Out of the golden gloom appeared Radha, and in that instant the infant assumed his eternal youthful form. There, with Brahma the Creator himself as priest and witness, their divine Gandharva union was performed, a wedding beyond society, sealed by eternity itself. This is why the Nimbarka tradition worships them as eternally wedded. Tradition also gently tells us that Radha was likely the elder of the two, for in Vraja, love, not convention, rules every relationship. Their bond was not created that day in the forest, it was merely revealed. For Radha and Krishna have never at any time been two. Hladini Shakti, who Radha really is. But who is Radha truly? Not merely a cowherd girl, and not merely a goddess among goddesses. The acharyas of the Bhakti schools teach something breathtaking. Radha is Krishna's own Hladini Shakti, his intrinsic power of bliss. The absolute is complete, yet to taste the sweetness of his own love, the one becomes two. Krishna, the enjoyer of divine love, and Radha, divine love itself, standing before him in personal form. She is not beside God, she is the joy of God. When Krishna plays the flute, it is Radha's name that flows through the bamboo. When the scriptures say that God is rasa, pure relish, pure delight, Radha is that rasa embodied. This is why her story cannot be read with worldly eyes. To speak of Radha is to speak of the innermost heart of the divine itself. The Rasa Leela, the night of nights. Then came the night the universe still remembers. An autumn full moon rose over Vrindavan, and Krishna lifted his flute. At that sound, the gopis left everything hearth, home, even half finished chores and ran to the forest, for the flute was calling their very souls. On the Yamuna's silver banks began the Maharasa. Krishna expanded himself so that beside every gopi danced a Krishna, and at the center of the circle he danced with Radha. The Bhagavata sings that even the moon stood still in wonder. And when a shadow of pride touched the dancers' hearts, Krishna vanished, remaining only with that one gopi whose love was deepest, and then vanished even from her, teaching that divine love is sustained not by possessing God, but by longing for Him. The rasa is not a dance of bodies, it is the dance of every soul with the Supreme. Parakya, love that asks nothing. Here the honest question arises, the very question King Parikshit asked the sage Shuka. How can such love outside marriage be holy? Shuka's answer rings across the ages. Fire consumes everything yet remains pure, and the Lord, dwelling in all beings, is bound by no worldly rule, though no mortal should dare imitate him. And the Acharyas go further. Sri Rupa Goswami's Science of Rasa declares Parakya Bhava, love that has no social sanction, no legal claim, no expectation of return, to be the most selfless love possible. A wife's love, however noble, carries rightful claim. The gopis' love carried nothing but surrender. They risked everything and asked for nothing. That is precisely why the Upanishadic sages and even Uddhava, Krishna's wisest friend, prayed for the dust of the gopis' feet. Their love was not desire wearing devotion's mask. It was devotion so pure that desire itself was burned away. The chariot of Akrura. Separation begins. But every Leela in this world carries a dusk. One morning a chariot entered Vraja. Akrura had come to take Krishna to Mathura, where destiny and demons awaited. The gopis threw themselves before the wheels. Yashoda's heart broke silently, and Radha watched the chariot dust rise until even the dust disappeared. Krishna never outwardly returned to live in Vraja. What became of Radha? She remained, the soul of Vrindavan, the queen of Barsana's hearts, living in unbroken remembrance of her beloved. When Krishna later sent the learned Uddhava to console the gopis, Uddhava returned transformed, confessing that these village women, through pure remembrance, had attained what yogis and philosophers could not. Radha's separation itself became the highest union, for the beloved who lives inside the heart can never truly leave. Why the world says Radhe Radhe? In Dwarka, Krishna the king duly married Rukmini, Satyabhama, and the queens whom he honored and protected as dharma required. And yet, walk today through Vrindavan, Barsana, or any lane of Vraja, and no one greets you with Krishna's name. They say, Radhe Radhe. In temple after temple, the deity is not Krishna alone but Radha Krishna, and her name is sung before his Radha Shyama, Radha Ramana, Radha Vallabha. Why is the unmarried beloved worshipped above the crowned queens? Because Rukmini received Krishna's majesty, but Radha holds his heart. Because she is his own bliss power, inseparable from him. And because the tradition knows a secret. Krishna is won not by ritual, wealth, or claim, but by love alone. And Radha is love personified. To call her name is to knock on the only door through which Krishna is reached. Enter Jayadeva, the poet of the Lord. Now our story leaps 12 centuries forward, for great love stories are never finished, they wait for their poets. In the 12th century, in the sacred east of Bharat, lived Jayadeva, a scholar saint associated with the court of King Lakshmana Sena and with the holy city of Puri, husband of the devoted temple dancers Padmavati. Through him, the love of Radha and Krishna found its immortal song, the Gita Govinda, the Song of Govinda. It opens with the thunderous Dashvatara Stotra, saluting the Lord's 10 descents, and then, having bowed to God's majesty, the poet dares to sing of God's heart. 12 cantos, 24 honeyed ashtapadis, composed to be sung and danced. Half poem, half prayer, the Gita Govinda would become the only literary work ever adopted into the daily worship of a great temple. Its subject? One night of separation and reunion between Radha and her Krishna. 12 cantos of longing. Listen to what Jayadeva dared to sing. It is springtime in Vrindavan, and Radha wanders the groves in anguish, for Krishna is dancing with the other gopis. Her Sakhi, her confidant, carries messages between the two aching hearts. Radha burns with viraha, the fever of separation, and then with mana, the proud, wounded silence of a lover betrayed. But here is Jayadeva's astonishing revelation. Krishna suffers too. The Lord of the universe sits alone by the Yamuna, remorseful, undone, his flute silent, begging his beloved's forgiveness. The poet shows us God not as the granter of love, but as the beggar of it. Canto by canto, the distance closes hesitation, message, memory, tears, until pride melts and only love remains. Sages call the Gita Govinda a map of the soul that sulks, doubts, and burns for God, and the God who burns equally in return. Self wrote. And now, the most sacred legend of the poem. Jayadeva reached the moment where Krishna, seeking Radha's forgiveness, was to utter the unthinkable, asking her to place her feet upon his head. The poet's hand froze. Could a mortal write such a thing of the Supreme Lord? Unable to continue, he went to the river to bathe. While he was gone, Krishna himself came, wearing Jayadeva's own form, sat at the manuscript and wrote the line Smaragarala Khandanam Mama Shirasi Mandanam Dehi pada-pallavam udaram. Place the tender blossom of your foot upon my head as an ornament. Let it destroy the poison of love's longing. Then he ate the meal Padmavati lovingly served and left. When the true Jayadeva returned, husband and wife stood trembling before the wet ink. God had completed the poem, signing in his own hand his surrender to the love of his devotee. No scripture on earth carries a greater seal. Sung before Jagannath, the Madhura path. From that day to this, the Gita Govinda has never fallen silent. Every single night in the great temple of Puri, before Lord Jagannath retires, Jayadeva's Ashtapadis are sung as part of the sacred ritual itself, the only poem in history woven into the eternal worship of a major temple. The classical dance of Odissi grew up dancing these very songs, and this path, loving God as one's own beloved, is a recognized royal road of bhakti, the Madhura Bhava. Centuries before Jayadeva, Andal of Srivilliputhur wore the garland meant for the Lord and refused any mortal groom, and the temple wed her to Ranganatha himself. Centuries after him, Mirabai of Rajasthan sang that her only husband was Giridhar Gopala, and no palace could hold her. To romance God, the saints show us, is not scandal. It is the soul remembering who its true beloved has always been. Kurukshetra, the last meeting. Did Radha and Krishna ever meet again? The Bhagavata answers, yes, once, and the heavens still weep at its beauty. Decades after leaving Vraja, during a great solar eclipse, Krishna traveled with the Yadavas to the holy field of Samanta Panchaka at Kurukshetra. And there, among the assembled kingdoms, came the people of Vraja, Nanda, Yashoda, the Gopis, and Radha. Krishna stood before them as an emperor among emperors, surrounded by armies and queens. But the Gopis saw none of it. Their only prayer, sings the Bhagavata, was this: come back to Vrindavan, leave the thrones, and return to the Yamuna's groves, where love needs no crown. This meeting of overwhelming love in separation is the secret heart of Puri's Rath Yatra to this day. The Lord, drawn on his great chariot, being pulled by his devotees' love out of royal Dwarka and home. Home to Vrindavan, home to Radha. Beyond time, the eternal union. And what of the end? The Garga Samhita tells of Krishna secretly returning to Vraja to fulfill his promise. The Brahmavaivarta Purana sings of the final moment when Radha, her earthly Leela complete, merged into Krishna's own form in the supreme abode of Goloka, the two flames becoming again the single fire they had always been. But hear the deeper truth the Acharyas whisper. Radha and Krishna were never actually separated, not for one instant. In eternal Goloka Vrindavan, beyond time's reach, they remain forever in the fresh bloom of youth, forever meeting for the first time, forever in the first wonder of love. The separation we wept over was Leela, divine theatre, enacted so that every soul might learn the taste of longing for God. For Viraha, the saints say, is not love's failure. Viraha is love's proof. Falashruti, the fruit of hearing. Now receive the blessing of this hearing, exactly as the Bhagavata promises. At the close of the Rasa chapters, the sage Shuka declares, Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya, kamam hridrogam ashu apahinoti, achirena dhira. Whoever hears the loving pastimes of the Lord with faith attains supreme devotion and swiftly casts off kama, lust, the disease of the heart. This is the phala. So let this narration be medicine. For you who seek a worthy companion in life, may your heart be made pure enough to recognize true love when it comes. For you who are in love and you who are newly wed, may your bond be washed clean of selfishness. And for every established home weathering its storms, know this: Radha and Krishna's love stood far above the material world, unadulterated by need, possession, or demand. And precisely for that reason, it is the perfect foundation beneath every faithful marriage. Build your household love upon their pure love, as a house is built on rock. Radhe Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna.